competition time again, and here is a chance to win a brand new PS5. All you got to do is subscribe to On Track GP on YouTube.
Also follow us on Instagram at OnTrackGP. Make sure you like the competition post, it's pinned on Instagram as well.
You can win yourself this right now. What are you waiting for?
Can I enter? Or can I have a go?
No.
As you can see, I'm having to brake very, very early here. It was pretty treacherous. As you can see, there was a car spun on the inside. Hey guys, Richard Bradley here with On Track GP. Now the Formula One season is coming to the European part of it, and that means there's a possibility of rain. And of course we've got Canada coming up as well, which has historically had its fair share of rain as well. So I'm going to show you guys today what exactly it's like for these drivers who are going to have to tackle some of these wet conditions. The car I'm going to show you here, it's my own car, a classic 1962 Brabham BT2. At that time was the step below Formula One. It used the same chassis as Formula One cars, same brakes, same suspension, same everything. Only difference was slightly skinnier tires and a smaller engine. Very small engine, 1.1 litre, but it only weighs about 420 kilos. It's a bit of a missile. This was taken from some testing that I did in 2018, and you can see it's a little bit wet out there. So the first thing you're going to notice is visibility. As you can see, we see very, very little. You've got the rain coming down, and you can also see how I've got my visor open a little bit. This is to let some air in as well, to stop the visor from steaming up. Now we have special wet weather visors which stops this, but it still can be a huge issue. So the drivers, whenever they say they need to change their helmet or a visor, it's not just that they want a clear visor to be able to see better, it's so that they can actually put an anti-fog film on the inside which stops a visor from steaming up. So the first problem is visibility and steaming up a visor. The second thing you have to think about, and when it gets really wet like it is in this video, is aquaplaning. Now this is where there's so much water on the surface that your tires don't actually clear the water and you start floating on top of it. Now you've probably had this at some points when you've gone through big puddles in your road cars, you know, especially in country lanes where the drainage is not that good. And what happens in a race car is you can see it makes it twitch, and you have to be confident enough to keep your foot on the throttle as you go through these puddles to keep the rear going in a forward motion. If you lift off, then the rear is going to be quite free. The chances of spinning are very high. And you can see here I'm turning into the right-hander, and I get these big twitches as the car's aquaplaning, and I'm just trying, even though my brain is telling me, no, Richard, lift off the throttle, lift off the throttle, you have to try and keep your foot down to try and keep it as steady as possible. Obviously the reduced grip is fairly massive. As you can see, I'm having to brake very, very early here. It was pretty treacherous. As you can see, there was a car spun on the inside. Now the other problem that you're going to have to deal with, apart from the lack of grip overall, is the lack of traction, and wheel spin is a huge problem. So what you'll see the drivers doing quite often is something called short shifting, and you're going to see me do it on the exit at this corner. So when you short shift, that's big slide there. When you short shift, basically that puts the engine into a higher gear, and so it means that you reduce the amount of wheel spin that you have. Now this actually gives you a lot less power. However, it stops the rear wheels from spinning too much. I was already in a high gear there, as you can hear from the low engine notes. I didn't actually have to, but it's counterintuitive because when you accelerate, you think, oh, I'm in the wrong gear. But because you don't get that wheel spin, you'll actually get a huge benefit. And you'll see a lot of the Formula One drivers, when it's this wet at the start of the race, they'll actually put the car into second gear and start the race in second gear just to stop that wheel spin effect. So they lose a little bit on the initial launch, but then later on when the other drivers in first potentially get wheel spin, that's when they start to make their progress. Now the other thing that you have to watch out for in wet conditions, apart from everything else that we've already spoken about, is paint and white lines. Now you have to try and stay primarily off the curbs as much as you can. So you're getting a few more slides there, because the paint becomes very shiny when it gets wet. So it's almost like when you're in the bath or the shower and the surface gets really slippery. Exact same thing happens with paint. Then you try and go over it in as straight a line as possible so you don't put any stress on the car, because if you do that, then generally you should be okay. If you just clip it while you've got a load on the car, then it's quite a high chance that the car will spit round. Obviously you have rain lights on the other cars, but with the spray you're about to see here, I'm approaching the other car, and honestly you can see absolutely nothing. It's very difficult to see the other cars, and it's much worse in a Formula One car where you have the aerodynamic effect, because the aerodynamic effect lifts that spray up and it means you're just driving in a wall of water. And I've had it in races before where I've been so blind on the first lap in a high downforce aerodynamic car where I've literally been driving up looking for a bridge because you can't see anything in front and you can't even see the rain lights on the cars. So yeah, just to give you an example of what driving in the rain is like, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. As you can see, slipping and sliding away. I was actually having a hell of a lot of fun. Enjoy the race this weekend. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I want to hear your opinion. Would you prefer driving in the wet to the dry? Obviously, it's a lot more risky, but as you can see, you're slipping and sliding away. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot of fun to be had. Hope you guys enjoyed that and look forward to seeing you for the next one.
Competition time again, and here is a chance to win a brand new PS5. All you got to do is subscribe to On Track GP on YouTube.
Also follow us on Instagram at OnTrackGP. Make sure you like the competition post, it's pinned on Instagram as well.
You can win yourself this right now. What are you waiting for?
Can I enter? Or can I have a go?
No.